Hello everyone. We have talked about the verb earlier. So, a verb in English is a word that denotes a state of action, a state of being, or sometimes it can be used as a helping word. Now, let's look at the different forms of the verb in English. So, basically, we would say that the verb has five forms: the base form or the infinitive. For example, look at this word jump, right? It's a base form, it's the infinitive, it's called the bare infinitive because from the base we build things, right? So whenever we build something, we need to have a base or a foundation. From that, you build a structure. So here also, when we build the different forms of the verb, we need to have a base form, and the base form is called the infinitive or the bare infinitive. So the first form is the base form or the infinitive. Let's look at the verb jump, study, etc. Then we have the S form or the ES form, right? So we say jumps. He jumps across the room. He studies well, right? Then we have the ing form, or it's called the present participle. He is jumping across the room. He is studying well, right? So we use it with the ing form. It shows the present participle form. Then we have the past form. He jumped. Jumped. The ed form. Jumped. Right? Or we say he studied. Studied. So it's the ed form or the past form. Then we have the past participle form, right? Sometimes it's the ed form, sometimes it's a different form altogether. It is used with the perfect tense. For example, we say he jumped. Sorry, he has jumped, right? He has jumped. He has studied. So that is called the past participle, the ed form, right? So sometimes the past form also has the ed form and the past participle also has the ed form for certain verbs. Now look at these sentences. I write a letter. It's a base form, right? Write is the bare infinitive. He writes a letter. That's the S form, right? Then we have the ing form. He is writing a letter. Then we have the past form. He wrote a letter. See, it's not the ed form. For certain verbs, we have ed. For certain verbs, it is a different form altogether. He has written a letter. That's the past participle form, right? So here also, it's not the ed form. So you have understood that for certain verbs, we have the past tense in the ed form, the past participle also in the ed form. Whereas for certain other verbs, we have the past tense in a different form altogether. Write, wrote, sing, sang, right? Swim, swam, drive, drove, etc. Whereas for certain verbs like jump, jumped, play, played, study, studied. So for certain verbs, we have the ed form for past tense and past participle, whereas for certain other verbs, we have a different form altogether for the past tense and also for the past participle. So those are the five forms of the verb. Now, we were talking about the present participle. So a verb, we're talking about the participle. We talked about the present participle and also about the past participle. So we realized that a verb would have two participle forms. We have the present participle, which is the ing form, and we also have the past participle, which is the ed form. Now, why do we use the present participle? The present participle is mainly used to denote the continuous tense forms and also to act as adjectives. Now, what is an adjective? An adjective is a word that qualifies a noun. Qualifies in the sense it defines a noun. It tells us something more about a noun. So, sometimes the present participle can be used as an adjective. So, it would define a noun. Now, look at this first sentence. This is an interesting story. This word interesting, it is the ing form, interest plus ing. It's interesting, right? And it is a participle form, and here it is used as an adjective. Why is it used as an adjective? Because it defines the noun story. This is an interesting story. It is used as an adjective. Whereas, look at this sentence. They are watching TV at the moment. Now here, the word watching is a present participle. It is the ing form and it is used as a present continuous tense. Something that is happening at the present, to show something that is happening at the present moment. They are watching TV at the moment. So as I said, it shows the continuous tense forms. And here, he has been working in the garden for 20 minutes. Now here, working has been used as the present perfect continuous tense, right? Something that started in the past and which is still going on now, right? So it is used as the present perfect continuous tense. So as I told you, the present participle can be used for two functions. One is to show the continuous tense forms and also to act as an adjective. So in this first sentence, interesting story, interesting is an adjective because it defines the noun story. And in the second and third sentence, watching and working they denote the continuous tense forms, right? They show the present continuous tense and also the present perfect continuous tense. Now we come to the past participle. Now the past participle forms are used to form perfect tenses. They are used to show the passive verb forms and sometimes they also act as adjectives. Three functions. One is to show to act as an adjective. One is to show the passive verb forms and the other one is to show perfect tenses, right? Now look at these sentences given here. Someone has eaten my pie. Now, in this particular sentence, has eaten is a perfect tense, right? And the word eaten is a past participle, right? So here we see that it is used to form a perfect tense. Whereas in the second sentence, the novel was written an year ago. Now this is a passive form. So I would say, I wrote a novel an year ago. That is the active form, right? The active form. But when I change that to passive, it becomes a novel was written by me an year ago. So that is a passive verb, right? So here we see that past participles can be used to denote passive forms. And look at the third sentence. The excited boys jumped up and down the room. Now, here, this is a past participle, excited, the ed form. But again, we see that this is used to define the noun boys. It qualifies the noun boys. It tells us something about the boys. What does it tell us? It tells us that the boys are excited. So, it is used as an adjective. So, we realize that past participles can be used to form perfect tenses. They can be used as passive verbs and they can also act as adjectives. Now, we talked about verbs having different forms when they are used in the past tense, right? So I spoke about the verb jump. Now, when you convert jump into the past tense, it becomes jumped, the ed form. And even the past participle form is jumped. He has jumped. He jumped, he has jumped. But when you have a verb like write, the past tense is wrote. Write, wrote. And he has written. So that is the participle form, right? So for some verbs, we see that both the past tense and the past participle is denoted using ed. Whereas for certain other verbs, we have a different form altogether for the past tense and also for the participle form. So the verbs that would take ed for past tense and also for participle form, such verbs are called regular verbs, right? Regular verbs would take ed to form their past tense and also to form their participle forms. Whereas irregular verbs would take a different form altogether, right? So regular verbs have the same past simple and the past participle form. Play, played, played. So he plays, he played, he has played. Study, he studies, he studied, he has studied, right? But in the case of irregular verbs, the participle form is different from the simple past tense. It's not the ed form. Swim. He swam in the lake. He has swum. Drink. He drank some water. He has drunk some water. So we see how the irregular verbs are very different from the regular verbs. So the way you can distinguish regular verbs from irregular verbs is just looking at the past form. Regular verbs would take ed to form their past forms and also their participle forms, whereas irregular verbs would take a different form altogether for the past tense and also for the participle form, right? Now, we would look at another aspect of verbs that's called the transitive and the intransitive aspect. Now, we might have heard about transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. We always need to understand that for a verb to be transitive, it needs to have an object. Now, how do you understand that a verb has an object or not? The best thing is ask the question, what or whom to the verb, right? So suppose I tell you, I wrote a letter. In that particular sentence, wrote is a verb. So you ask the question, I wrote what? The answer is letter. So you're getting an object. So the object of the verb is the answer to the question what or whom. So then we realize that that particular sentence has an object, right? Sorry, that particular verb has an object, right? So we say, I wrote a letter. I wrote what? I wrote a letter. So letter is the object, right? So it is an answer to the question what. So we realize that that particular verb has an object and therefore that verb is called a transitive verb. A transitive verb will always have an object, whereas an intransitive verb will not have an object. So when I say, the baby is sleeping, what's the object in that particular sentence? How do you analyze that? You look at the verb. What is the verb there? Is sleeping, right? So you ask, is sleeping what? Do you get an answer? No. Is sleeping whom? No answer. That means there is no object. So when there is no object, what happens? You'll understand that that particular verb is an intransitive verb, right? So transitive verbs are verbs that require one or sometimes more than one objects, and transitive verbs would always ask the question what or whom. I wrote a letter. Wrote what? A letter. The teacher praised the student. Praised whom? The student. So here in these two sentences, we see that letter is the object and student is also the object. So these two sentences have verbs which are transitive verbs because they have an object. Now, as I said, sometimes in a particular sentence, there would be two objects, right? So when there are two objects, one would be the direct object and the other would be the indirect object. Now, how do you distinguish between a direct object and an indirect object? Now, look at this sentence. I gifted my mother a necklace. Now, you ask the question, so which is the verb here? Gifted. I gifted what? The answer is a necklace. I gifted whom? My mother. So we have two objects here. So which is the direct object? Now, the direct object would answer the question what, right? Whereas the indirect object would answer the question whom, right? So when you ask the question, I gifted what? A necklace. So the necklace becomes it's a direct object. I gifted whom? My mother. It's the indirect object. So sometimes a particular verb in a sentence would have two objects, the direct object as well as the indirect object, right? But it's a transitive verb because it has an object, right? Now, as I said, intransitive verbs would not have an object, right? I went to Delhi last week. I went what? Not I went where. You have to ask the question what? I went what? No answer. I went whom? No answer. So went is it's an intransitive verb. The apple fell from the tree. Fell. Fell what? Not what fell. Fell what? No answer. Fell whom? No answer. So here we realize that Both went and fell are intransitive verbs because they do not have an object, right? So suppose I give you this question. The birds fly in the air. So what is the verb in that particular sentence? It's fly, right? Or the birds flew in the sky. The birds flew in the sky. What is the verb there? Flew, right? Does that verb have an object? Flew what? No answer. Flew whom? No answer. So no object. It's an intransitive verb. But suppose I give you this sentence. I flew a kite. I flew a kite. Flying kites, right? I flew a kite. Now, in that particular sentence, you ask a question, flew what? Kite. You're getting an answer. So, it's a transitive verb, right? Because it has the object kite. Now, look at both these verbs. It's the same verb in both these sentences. The birds flew in the sky and I flew a kite. In one sentence, it's transitive, and in the other sentence, it is intransitive. So you determine whether a verb is transitive or intransitive based on the context. So you need to understand whether the verb has an object or not. If it has an object, it's a transitive verb. If it does not have an object, it is an intransitive verb. And you always need to remember that when we convert a sentence from active voice to passive voice, we can only convert sentences which have transitive verbs. Suppose I tell you, I went to Delhi last week. It's a sentence in active voice. How do you convert that to passive? You cannot convert that because it does not have an object, right? But suppose I tell you, I wrote a letter. It's an active voice. Can you convert that to passive voice? Of course you can because you have an object. So we say a letter was written by me. So you can convert a verb which is transitive, right, from active to passive. Whereas if the verb is intransitive, you cannot convert that from active to passive. So I hope this is clear to you. So we looked at the different forms of the verb, the 5 forms, right? And we also looked at irregular verbs, regular verbs. We looked at the function of past participles, present participles, and we also understood what an intransitive verb is and what a transitive verb is. Thank you.